Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Journey Within. I am your host, Andrea Escobar Logreda, spiritual guide and spiritual intuitive. Each week, we get to connect with different healers, storytellers, and vision holders as they walk us through their journey within dark night of the soul experience and how they transform their rock bottoms into magic. So today's guest, I'm kind of partial to bringing him in. I discovered Brad Yates, I want to say 3 years ago, when I wanted to work through some limiting beliefs that were popping up for me. And I discovered his YouTube channel, Tapping with Brad, which was, was it Tap with Brad? I'm trying to throw in things all the time. And really, really resonated with his style. Fast forward, he's talking about wanting to connect and spread the word of EFT, and our paths ended up connecting. So I am super excited to have a master EFT practitioner, coach, best-selling author, event host. He's been featured in the film The Tapping Solution, and like I mentioned, has an extremely successful YouTube channel. Brad Yates, everyone. You like that, didn't you?
I can use that. That's awesome. Thank you, Andrea. It's awesome to be here with you.
Oh man, it's so awesome connecting with you. So before we start and we dive into your upbringing and what, molded the person you are today, tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now in the world. 2021, it's February something. What's life? Where are you at in life right now?
I'm at home like everybody else, of course.
I'm not at home, so apparently not everyone.
Oh, well, like most everybody else. As I have been for the last year. Well, I work from home, so quarantine didn't change things a lot for me, except for not being able to travel and do live events. But use it, just putting the videos out there, doing Facebook and YouTube lives and online events, spreading the good word about tapping, helping people clear out their limiting beliefs and their blocks and all the reasons why they couldn't or shouldn't have things so much better, because nothing's too good for you.
Oh man, I agree with you on that. I don't know why, this vision came up, and it's one of your videos, the one with money, and you have a bunch of bills, and I just like saw you throwing them up in the air. I don't know why, it just randomly came into my vision of bold.
Yeah, it was $5,000 and $100 bills that just sort of fanning it out and just see what people respond to, because some people will get excited, but also when we see that kind of money, it's like, yeah, I'm excited, and also scared and nervous and upset. It's like, oh, why does he have that money? And it brings up all that stuff, and all of that negative energy is what stops us from having more.
Definitely, I couldn't agree more. And kind of pivoting on all that, bring us back to your upbringing, where you grew up, and how that really influenced who you are. Because I feel like a lot of the limiting beliefs that, not a lot, 90% of them are picked up, in our childhood by our caretakers, our community, and those that we have around us. And we often think they are our own beliefs and our own opinions. And it's not until you start really growing that you're like, wait, does this really align with me? And I feel like I'm really intrigued to see where you started, because I'm so intrigued by your story.
That's not that interesting. I'm very blessed. I grew up in a pretty privileged childhood with a great family. The only challenge, and I say that because I know how challenging so many people's lives are, is that I was the second child, and my older sister took care of everything. So everything was easy for me, and I didn't learn a lot of self-discipline. I had a lot of learned helplessness, and I don't fault her for that, but it was something that I didn't know for a very long time. It's just that, it's like, well, I don't have to work hard. Things will be taken care of for me. which once I got out on my own did not serve me very well. So I was very unsuccessful in my career as an actor. I mean, I had my moments, but I was ill suited to the world of self-supporting, self-sufficiency, and ended up at when I was 34 and married with 2 kids, moving back in with my parents. Now, it wasn't just that, oh my goodness, we've lost all of our money and we had to move in. We had decided to leave Los Angeles. This is at the time where I decided I'm done being an actor and I really want to go into personal development. And both of our parents were in Northern California. And we thought, let's go raise our kids closer to their grandparents. So, it was a matter of convenience, and rather than trying to find a place before moving, my parents have room in their house, we'll move in there. But if I had been more successful at that point, I could have created a better solution than that. So there was a lot of stuff that I had to relearn, and a lot of beliefs I had to clear out about what I was capable of. That I could achieve success on my own, and that I had value to offer. That there were things that I could do as opposed to just being a bystander.
That's so interesting that you're saying this, because I feel like last year it kind of put a slide on people moving back home, or things happening. But if you would have talked to someone a year before and they would have said that, it's like, oh my God, what happened? And it is that kind of like, did you lose everything type of mentality. And I'm sure it's not, your ego wasn't loving the fact that you were moving back home.
No. Yes. With a wife and 2 kids, it's like,
Exactly.
hey, really successful.
How did you like handle that? And then on another end, you're going from being an actor to personal development. And it's not like, I'm sure when you did that, we're in a space now where I feel like it's a lot more accessible and more people are, it's a lot, it's more, we're more aware of it.
Yeah.
Versus if you would have gone back 10 years, we're not talking about the same type of audience. Like everything changes.
Right. This is 20 years ago, before YouTube. So it was actually at that time, just after we moved to Northern California, that I learned EFT. So it was part of that same thing. And then I started building that into my work. I'd started as a hypnotherapist and started to build a small practice with a few clients up in Northern California, and started introducing EFT into that. And then we moved from the Bay Area up to Sacramento and started building that more, putting things on the internet. Then YouTube came along, and I thought, hey, wouldn't it be really cool if there's a tapping video that people could use to start their day? And I'll call it Tap of the Morning. And it was all I intended to do, was that one video. I had no plans of having more videos. 6 months until I thought, I really ought to create a tap of the evening for people to end their day with. And then I'm done. And then a few months later, I had another idea, and then another, and now it's a decade later, and I have over 1,000 videos on there.
So you weren't looking at it as, I'm going to create something. It was more of just like, why not share this with the world?
Exactly. Hey, I've got this really cool tool. Wouldn't it be great if other people could find it? And YouTube seems like a great way. But no idea of ever having more than that one video. It's like, okay, I put the YouTube thing out there, get back to whatever else I'm doing right now, and but life had other plans.
Doesn't it always have other ways of navigating us towards where we're supposed to? Did you have a lot of ego resistance come up when you were leaving acting to kind of transition into hypnotherapy?
I don't think that I did a lot. I certainly had my friends who are actors who are like, oh, so you're quitting.
Ah,
Because that happens.
yeah.
Because people are afraid, i- i- because they may be feeling like it's not working for them, and maybe that's not doing anymore, but it's like, well, but I don't want to give up. And so they will say, oh, so you're giving up. And it's like, no, when while I was an actor and met my wife, and when we had our first child was on the way, I thought I should probably have a backup career. And that's when, instead of getting, a steady kind of paycheck job, I became a hypnotherapist. And so been doing that for about a year and a half, or about, no, a little over 2 years. And then our second child was on the way. And at this point, a number of things happened. I had an opportunity to meet a really great agent who said, "You're great. You're a great actor, but there are 6 guys who look a lot like you that are getting all the work right now, and it'd be a tough push right now." And I thought, okay, I'm good. And actually, I really feel like, and I'd already been thinking that I was enjoying hypnotherapy so much, feeling that the personal development was at least an equal calling to acting, if not more of one. And I feel like that meeting with the agent was just kind of the icing on the cake of, you know, um, what I call a pink slip from God, just letting you just a confirmation of, this is, you've done what you were meant to do here. I'm not a doctor, but I played one on TV. I can use that line. Served me well. I've had a lot of great experiences. It set me up for what I do. I'm much more comfortable on YouTube than some of my colleagues because I've spent a lot of time on camera and taking training and voice training and theatrical background. So it was never a matter of, that was setting me up for this, what was my real calling. And as much as I love acting, I can't imagine a career that I could find as fulfilling as what I do now.
That's so cool. I like love the entire thing. I did a lot of research on you a while back, and I always thought it was so, wow, me being a creeper, but no, I just thought it was so cool that um you literally were guided to this. And it's almost like everything that you wanted to get open while you were an actor didn't open, but all the doors now opened in this new way. And you're probably getting all the recognition and everything that you wanted from being an actor, but you're getting it in a more fulfilling way because you're able to help people. Like, not trying to say that actors don't, but they don't.
Well, there is value in the arts,
There
and
is.
it's and there's a reason why actors are so popular, because people get something from them in a different way. Inspiration, it inspire, moves them. There is a lot of value in entertainment. It's just a different kind of thing. It's there, one's not better than the other. This was just, it just fit more for who I am and what I wanted to do. Uh, Especially when I met my wife, she was running homeless programs in LA. And so I had been a relatively selfish person up until then. And she taught me about being of service. And now when I started doing that, it's like, oh, hey, that's kind of groovy. And like my first service project was doing a group hypnosis session at this transitional housing program that she was running in LA. So doing a self-esteem workshop, including hypnosis. So that was really rewarding. And so it all built from that. So it's all worked. And yeah, for me, I think one of the things that has worked for me has just been a willingness to say yes when doors open. And I certainly won't say, yes, as soon as the door opens, I am right through that, doing everything I possibly can. I'm dipping my toe in the water and going, maybe, but I at least acknowledge the doors, and it's like, all right, I may not jump in as fast as some people, but I'm more willing than a lot of folks, because we get very stuck in our ideas of what it's supposed to be. And I was blessed in that my dad had been raised in a family where everyone was an engineer, and he was, went to Stanford and Harvard and was trained to be an engineer, and decided he wanted to do something different, which did not go over well with his dad. So my dad was not going to do that to me. And my parents said, you be who you want to be and you do what you do. And that was a real blessing. And I know that a lot of people don't have that. So that one of the things is with tapping is helping people recognize, okay, but you can give yourself that permission now. Once you're an adult, you're not dependent upon your parents for food and housing, then even though you might have to again at 34, you get to say, here's what's okay for me, and the sky's the limit.
I really love that you made an emphasis on that, that you did have that support of your dad, because like you said, not a lot of people have that. And
Right.
I love my mom. She's, and a lot of what we're going through a lot right now. And I see that a lot of it is just her own perception of what she's lived. And I have to remind myself that's her story, not mine. And one thing that I learned last year was we think our security comes externally. And I'm sure my guides have been trying to get this lesson through to me a lot for a long time, but it finally hit last year where I was like, oh, wow, our security really comes from within. So right now I'm in this like transitional spot, and my mom doesn't understand it, and she's Hispanic. So it goes even more of, you need to do what I'm telling you to do.
Right. And it absolutely comes from love.
Oh yeah.
It's simply what I don't understand where you're at. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
fit my thing. And I care about you too much to have you out in the weeds. You're in the wilderness and it's dangerous out there. Come back into the comfort
Yep.
zone. Yeah, it's small, uncomfortable at times. It may not be everything you hope for, but it's what we know. It's what I know. And I'm afraid for you to have, anything else. Like the statement, don't get your hopes up. So many parents say to their kids, well, don't get your hopes up. It's one of the worst things you could say to somebody, but it is said with the best of intentions. Like, I don't want you to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And my either my experience or what my parents taught me, because their parents had taught them, had been
Yeah.
taught, is that getting your leads to pain. And I don't want you to experience pain, so please don't get your hopes up.
It's that, that one's really big. The one that for me popped up and you helped me a lot through was money doesn't grow on trees. And I still remember being little and I'm like, but it does grow on trees. Doesn't money come from paper? And just being very confused when they were like,
Right.
no. And I'm like, but doesn't it? So that
real way.
Like, I was just like, but like, are you sure you're lying? And it was stuff like that. Or my mom loved saying, nothing's going to fall from the sky. And I'm at a place now where I've seen enough things fall from, okay. And I'm putting this in quotations. So that doesn't mean that I'm going to sit here and repeat, I'm going to get $5,000 and it's going to fall from the sky. It's not that. But when you open yourself up for the right doors and you're aware of them, then the opportunities start to fall into your life. Yeah. So in that sense, I do believe things that fall from the sky. And I was just like looking at her and I almost started to laugh, which she found disrespectful. And I'm like, Mom, this is not laughing at you. I'm just laughing that we really have two different views of reality. To you, that's not possible. And to me, it is so possible that I just can't engage in this conversation anymore. But it's so interesting how they're things that come out of love. They're trying to prevent you from experiencing pain, but in reality, it can actually be counterproductive because now.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And they just don't know that. And so that's the thing, is for us to be able to say, I can hear that, I can appreciate the loving intention and dismiss it. And we also, many of us have programming about honoring your parents. And the idea that, well, I can't, what you were just saying, I can't dishonor my mom and say that's crazy. You were able to say it, but a lot of people don't. And not only can they not say it out loud, they can't even say it in their head. Even if they're in their head, they're saying, that doesn't make it, no, don't even think about that. Because their parents inside their head, don't dishonor me. You stay in that comfort zone. You do not make more money than we made. You do not find healthier relationships than we had. You do it this way. And it dishonoring them, this idea that it dishonors them, if you do it differently. So it's like if your parents were really bad at math and had taught you that 4 + 4 = 3, and then you go to school and the teacher gives you a math test, says 4 + 4, and it's like 3, and the teacher says you're stupid. It's like, well, you're not stupid. You're just as smart as anybody else. You're putting the answer that you've been taught. There's nothing stupid about that. So when we beat ourselves up going, I'm so stupid for having these limiting beliefs, no, that's what you know. But then there's also when the teacher says, well, okay, I get that you've misunderstood that, but here's the real way. But then saying to the teacher, but if I write anything other than 3, I'm dishonoring my parents, and the Bible says don't do that. It's like, you can honor your parents. The best way to honor your parents, from my perspective, is to be the absolute best, most successful, happiest, healthiest version of yourself, sharing your gifts and talents as much as possible, because your parents are the conduit through which you are this gift to the world. And the best way to honor them raising you, however they did as well as they could, is to share your gifts at the highest level possible. And really make it worth their while for bringing you here.
I just realized I mute myself and then I start talking and I forget. You're so right. No. And I was actually thinking, I'm like, man, your kids have such a great foundation because you were able to not pass down, obviously, since your dad didn't pass them down to you. And now you're so self-aware that you're not passing that down to them, which I think is so magical.
Oh yeah, my kids are like total bodhisattvas,
How old are they?
21 and 20,
Okay.
23, coming up on 24.
Oh,
trying to remember so I mean, no, my kids are wonderful, and I wish that I could say that the wisdom that I dispense in my YouTube videos is the same wisdom that I dispensed every day as a loving, caring parent. But sorry to break it to you, I'm human and made, but they are both wonderful kids and are doing great. My daughter's still in school, and my son is got a job even before he graduated, doing something he enjoys. So
hey, I think that's all you could ever ask for, the fact that they're healthy and happy and following their dreams, which is the base that your dad gave you, which is incredible. So that's so beautiful. Why don't you tell us in like the most basic terms for anyone that's never heard of EFT and they're like, what? Like, what is EFT tapping? Why does it work? What are the pressure points? Like, really break that down for everyone that has never heard of it. And how can they start to implement it? I think one of the reasons I love it so much is there's a time and place for talk therapy, but I am also a believer that you can't talk trauma out. You can't say, oh, yes, I'm scared. Like, you need, and this is such a powerful tool because you can literally, you're giving people back that self-empowerment to take back their power and essentially do their own self-healing and self-regulating and self-everything.
Yeah, because our feelings are called feelings because we feel them. It's in our bodies. It's not, we're not just talking, they're not thinkings. Our thinkings are a problem, but it's our feelings that we're more often aware of. In trauma, there are thinkings and there are feelings to that. And so to be able to talk about it and be working at the somatic level and dealing with the body and calming that down, because that's what the tapping does. So EFT is short for emotional freedom techniques. It's a matter of being able to have some emotional freedom rather than being trapped by our emotions. And many of us now just call it tapping. And it is literally a process of tapping with our fingertips on places primarily on the face and torso. And if you are new to this, I know it looks a little weird. There's still a very good reason why we do it. There's a reason why more and more people are doing it, and people at all levels of humanity. I have worked with movie stars and rock stars and people in homeless shelters and all kinds of different folks. And so it's originally based on acupuncture. So for thousands of years in Chinese medicine, they have said there is a flow of energy through the body along these pathways that are called meridians. And when this energy gets stuck, we don't feel so good. And when we don't feel good, we don't think very clearly and we don't make the best decisions. So in traditional Chinese medicine, the doctor would stick needles in these key points to stimulate that healthy flow of energy. And we're just tapping these same points. These are points that you can find with a galvanometer to find. These are areas of lower electrical resistance. So there is something to it. It's not just, oh, they just made up some points. This is an actual system going on in our body. And what the tapping is doing, one of the primary things it's doing is it's down-regulating the stress response. And we have scientific evidence showing this, research showing that cortisol, one of the stress hormones, is dramatically lowered while we're tapping. We have fMRI studies where you can see which parts of the brain are lighting up under certain circumstances and with certain thoughts, and how after tapping, those stress areas are not being triggered. So it's in spite of the fact that millions of people have been able to tap and go, I definitely feel better. I can tell there's difference. Still, a lot of people say, well, it's placebo, it's this or that. It's like, well, no, we have research showing that it actually works. So, and if you thought of it as nothing more than stress relief, that would still explain why it's so beneficial in so many areas, because most, if not all of the issues we face, emotional and physical, are either caused by or worsened by stress. So if you can lower stress, that allows us to feel better, which then gives us more freedom to do better. And we can, change our minds about certain things. Like when we think about, so to use the example I used before of, if you look at the math test and you see 4 + 4, and part of you is like, I don't want to fail this test, but I don't want to dishonor my parents either. And you feel this stress. And so the tapping helps us relieve that stress, that we can say, okay, there's no reason to stress about dishonoring my parents because that's a misunderstanding. They didn't understand. They didn't know any better. They've been taught that. It doesn't mean I'm not telling them they're stupid. I don't need to fail math in order to prove that my parents aren't stupid, because that doesn't really prove anything. So I, appreciate that I have that response, but I can clear that out. So I no longer have a response telling me, this is a dangerous situation. You need to make this choice. And when we get stressed out, we tend to make the same old choices we made in the past. Well, when I'm upset, I go and I eat a whole box of Girl Scout cookies because everyone knows that is the solution to stress or heartache or whatever it might be. I may not like the consequences of that, but hey, there it is. But if there's another way to deal with that stress, then we can say, oh, okay, I don't need to do that. So it gives us literally the emotional freedom to think better thoughts and make better choices, which leads to better actions, which leads to a much better life.
I love how you really broke that down and turned it into like the most simplest way. And it's true, even if you don't connect with the more, but even if you think it's just a stress reliever, when we're talking about reprogramming the subconscious mind, when we're doing this in repetition, you are reprogramming a new neural pathway, which means you're in, there's a new belief. And so to anyone that's kind of like, no, this is a little bit too out there and woo woo, it's not
It's
actually.
not woo woo. Someone once asked me, well, I saw a great post the other day that says calling
Mm.
something woo woo is just a way of saying I want to stay stuck in my limited mindset.
Oh,
Or I think they said colonized mindset.
I like
But
that.
yeah, someone at a seminar once said, would you consider what you do in the realm of the woo woo? And I said, no. It's no more woo woo than doing the Heimlich maneuver or anything else where you're using your body's natural system. It's no more woo than taking a deep breath. This is how our body is designed, and it was discovered how by the Chinese thousands of years ago. And then when this psychologist Roger Callahan was working with a woman with a water phobia, and he'd been learning about acupressure, and she said the fear came up as a knot in her stomach, and he said, oh, let's see, the stomach meridian point is right here. Let's see what happens when you tap here. And not only did the knot in her stomach go away, but the fear of water went away. So he started experimenting with different clients and found different ways of doing that. So in terms of changing beliefs, as human beings, we like things to be set a certain way. We learn it, and then it's done. Because if we had to relearn everything every day, we could never get anything done. That's how it was when we were a baby. We're learning how to walk and things like that. But now it's like, this is how I do it. I get up, I brush my teeth, I do this, I do this. We're creatures of habit. And when we try to change that, we experience stress. Our system says, something's wrong here. This is not how we do this. So, for instance, in terms of money, if you say, I'm now going to be financially successful, and the 10% of conscious mind can get all excited about that and make a vision board and go, oh, this is so wonderful, I'm excited about this. The 90% of the unconscious mind is like, you dream all you like. We're just going to make sure it doesn't happen, because that's not how we operate. That's not how your parents were. That's not how your grandparents were. This is people like us don't, whatever money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are greedy. Money's the root of all evil. All these different beliefs that we have in here. And so if we were to actually allow ourselves to make more money, we'd feel all this stress. Now I'm a bad person. Now I'm the root of all evil. Now I'm this. And so we have to get rid of it. We either bring it in and then get rid of it, or we don't bring it in at all. And we avoid opportunities. Oh, I was supposed to have a job interview today. Shoot, what happened? I've totally forgot about it. Because we're brilliant, not because we're stupid, but we have brilliantly avoided a situation that could lead to more money, which would mean being a bad person. So we have protected ourselves. That's why I like to say that self-sabotage is simply misguided self-love. All the things you do to sabotage your success, personally, professionally, physically, financially, in relationships, whatever it is done because some old programming you have, which is most likely based on misunderstandings, like 4 + 4 = 3, is saying, don't go there. It's not safe. So what happens is we have a stress response, whether it's a huge freak out or just a subtle little thing that we're not aware of, and we avoid it. If you've been saying, I'm tired of being single and I want to be in a relationship, you could imagine being in a grocery store and you see this attractive stranger a little ways away. You think, I could go up and say hi to this person. And your brain starts going like a chess grandmaster, thinking like 50 moves ahead. It's like, I'm going to go say hi. And they'll say hi back. We might start a conversation. We might get along, and we might go out on a date. And that date could lead to another date, and we start going out. And then we get married. And then they'd break my heart and leave me with everything, and I'd be in debt. And nope. Oh, look, there's a sale on aisle 2. And we are down aisle 2 before we are even consciously aware that any of this has happened. And we've sabotaged our ability to, and then we're over in aisle 2, look at the sale items going, gosh, I wish I could meet somebody. If only I, and it's brilliant. It is brilliant based on the belief that relationships are dangerous. Consciously, I want a relationship. Unconsciously, the 90% versus the 10% conscious is saying, it'll hurt you. relationships are pain. Just avoid that. And so rather than beating ourselves up, whether it's I'm single or I'm in debt or I'm overweight or whatever it is, don't beat yourself up. Say, I love and appreciate myself for all of the ways that I've put myself into a position that I believe is safer. And now, but when I try to challenge that and say, I can handle money, I can handle relationships, I can handle being healthy, there's a stress response that says, no, that's not us. Tap, 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 tap. Reduce that stress response. It's like, oh, that's a misunderstanding. I could do that. I could totally handle it. And yes, that relationship I had ended terribly, but you know what? Now that I think about it, I missed a lot of red flags. You know, it wasn't that all men or all women are horrible. That particular person had some issues that they weren't dealing with, and I put up with it. And so I can go forth and find someone who's not doesn't have those issues, and also allow myself to recognize if they have those issues, I get to say, yeah, I'm not interested. You work that out. I'm not playing that game again. Been there, done that. And so because in that previous relationship we had beliefs about, maybe we had a belief of I don't deserve any better. This person needs me and I need to be there for them. All kinds of beliefs. It was never bad or stupid. Well, I could be in a healthy relationship or I could be treated like crap. I'll be treated like crap. What the heck? You know, there were beliefs with all of these situations that are less than ideal. Something inside of us has said, yes, this may be crap, but it beats the alternative. And even if our lives are crap, part of us says, yes, but it's my crap. I know where it goes. I handled it yesterday. I know how to handle it. I don't know how to handle something else. And the crap fits in the furniture that I have right now, and I'd have to get all new furniture. So, you know.
I love what you said about self-sabotage. It's just a misguided self-love because it's so true. Yeah. Like everything we've learned, no one ever taught us this. I mean, I don't want to say never, you never know, but it wasn't ever ill. Like it's what you learned. So you're just passing it on and it just continues on like that. And then you think this is the norm and it's not. And it's such a dumb example, but growing up, my mom never wore makeup. So for me, wearing makeup wasn't something like, I think when I was 11, I really wanted to, but I wanted to wear the very bright stuff. And then after a while, I was like, this is actually not as fun as I thought. There's a lot of work to this. I don't want to do this anymore. And I've never been a makeup person. Other people are like, how can you not be a makeup? You're Colombian. Everyone in Colombia wears makeup. I'm like, my mom never wore makeup. Like the women that I was surrounded with didn't wear makeup. So for me, it's not abnormal versus my aunt and her kids. She's my second aunt. She never leaves the house. Like her kids have never seen her without makeup. So to them, it's insane that I am. So it is what we learn and what we're taught that's okay. And, the norm. Wow.
Women survived for centuries without ever putting makeup on. Think back when I was an actor, because put on my own makeup. I was trained to put on makeup. But there was a reason for that. Not that you have to. And we have a lot of ideas that you can't, how can you go outside without makeup? Whereas guys, it's like, well, yeah.
No, it is.
So it's and that's it. I mean, it's so funny, Andrea, because you said this is a dumb example, and it's actually a brilliant example, because here's one of those things that we just take for granted. Women put on makeup before going outside and men don't, and that's just the way it is. And it's a total fiction. It's totally made up. Someone over time this happened. But all of the stuff that is ruling our lives, all of the stuff that is controlling our behavior is just as fictional. It's like, you have to have makeup. Why? Because Well, now that you mention it, say, of course you can't make more money than this. Why? Well, because I said so. It's like it goes back to the old because I said so. And we can break that down, and then it's like, yeah, and I can put makeup on if I want to, or I can choose not to. And there's no right or wrong. And yeah, there's consequences for everything. You'll face judgment. This is one of the things that holds so many people back from success, is the fear of being seen, because we hate being judged. And the more successful I am, the more people are going to judge me. People are going to criticize me, and I'll tell folks, yeah, you got to let that go, because it's happening anyway. It doesn't matter. You're walking to the grocery store and they're going to judge you for not wearing makeup, or they're going to judge you for having too much makeup on. It doesn't matter. The amount of makeup you wear, makeup as an analogy for anything else, someone's going to find fault with it. So, how you dress, and if you stay at home, someone's going to know that you're at home, and they're going to judge you for just staying at home. So you're going to be judged no matter what. You might as well let it go and go out and live the life you want to live.
I love that you're saying that, because it's so true. We think that like, oh, it's only a famous person that's going to get something said about. And I'm like, no, it's anyone. And I say it's literally anyone, because, and I'm going to laugh now, talking about mask. And this is just my own thing. I don't personally understand or believe the whole hype on the mask, but I wear it because, well, I'm a human in society and I need to abide by society's rules. But when I'm out in the mountains hiking, I don't necessarily wear a mask. And it was funny because I was hiking and this guy yells, he's like, "You're supposed to be wearing a mask." And my friend looks at me, she's like, "Oh my God, put on your mask." And I'm like, why? I'm not going to see him again. And if like he really needs to follow me for the rest of the hike to make sure I'm wearing a mask, that's on him, not on me. You're going to get criticized by everyone. Like,
right. And it's always, George Carlin had this great thing about, have you ever noticed when you're driving down the road, down the freeway, everyone going faster than you is a maniac, and everyone going slower than you is a moron. And it doesn't matter how fast you're going, you're going the right way. So like the mask thing, we wear masks when we're around. Now, if we're out, the other day we're out bicycle riding, we're not anywhere near anybody. So, but there was a day we went on a hike and we weren't, we took our masks off while we were hiking because we weren't near anybody. And within 15 feet of some other people who had their masks on, and this woman went, a little cross-eyed. It's like, and I had a mask with me when we're out. We'll have masks so that if we do come in close to people, just to be on the safe side.
Yeah.
And, do what you can, because I had COVID at the beginning of the year. It sucks. It's awful.
I mean, I'm not gonna like, I say this with, I'm not 100% sure, but when COVID hit, I was still working for HelloFresh. Who cares if HelloFresh hears this? I was still working for HelloFresh. One of my coworkers got COVID. She was still going into the office. When she tested positive, she found out probably like she had been sent home. It hadn't been a week or anything. She calls me and she's like, "Dude, I tested positive for COVID." I'm like, "So the entire office has COVID now?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm knocking on wood. I didn't show any symptoms. I tell myself it's because I eat pretty good and I take care of myself. But then again,
and not everyone gets it.
And not everyone's gonna get it. Like,
no. It's not. It's not a guarantee that it's a just like wearing a seatbelt. Not everyone's going to be in a car crash, but you want to be. But you want to do what you can to prepare.
For sure, definitely.
Anyhow, boy, did we get off on a tangent.
I am on a random COVID tangent.
So but yes, people are going to judge you for whatever. I know we've already gone way over the time we talked about. Do you still want to do a tapping round?
Yeah. Could we do like a 5-minute one?
Yeah. So I was just thinking that the fear of judgment is a huge one.
Yes. Actually, that's great.
That this generally happens when I do an interview. It's like, organically, we're just going to know what to tap on. It's like, ooh, I think this for this interview. So what I'd like everyone to do is go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and hold it. And now just following your breath through your body. Just allow yourself to be aware of any fear that you have of being criticized, being judged. In fact, what I'd like you to think about is, if you weren't afraid of being judged, what would you do? What would you allow yourself to do? How might your life get better? What might you do to make your life better if there wasn't a fear of being judged? Allow yourself to think about that. But as you imagine yourself doing those things, allow yourself to be aware of whatever fear you might have of being judged. Notice what you feel in your body, what you feel physically, what you feel emotionally. Notice how painful that might feel. Notice what thoughts, beliefs, or memories might come up as to why this would be so bad, why you'd have to feel pain, and why you have to avoid this. Take a deep breath, open your eyes. And so I'm going to show you how to do the process, but we'll also go through the very simple, basic version of EFT. We just say the issue like, even though I'm afraid of being judged, I love and accept myself. And then we'd say this fear of being judged, this fear of being judged, this fear of being judged. And you could just repeat that same word, but we're going to have a little more fun with that. So, even though I'm afraid of being judged, I choose to love and accept myself anyway. Even though I'm afraid of being judged, I choose to love and honor myself anyway. Even though I'm afraid of being judged, because it hurts to be judged. It hurts when people are critical. And if I were going to do what I really want to do, I know people would judge me. And if I got more successful, more people might know about me. And that means more people might judge me. And that much judgment would really hurt. And even though I'm afraid of being judged, I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And maybe anyone else who taught me to be afraid of this. Okay, right here at the beginning of your eyebrow, all this fear of being judged. Right at the corner of your eye, all this fear of being judged. Right under the middle of your eye, all this fear of being criticized. Right under your nose, because it really hurts when people criticize me. Right under your lower lip, just above your chin. I mean, I'm supposed to feel pain when people criticize me. Right here where your collarbones just about come together. You can tap right there, maybe make a fist and tap where the collarbones come together. I was taught to feel pain when I'm criticized. About 4 inches below your armpit. And so whenever people are critical of me, tap it on the crown of your head, I do what I'm supposed to do. I feel pain. So why would I want to put myself out there and do things that might get criticism? Why would I want to be seen by more people when that just means more judgment? Sure, there's things I'm missing out on. My life could probably be better. But part of me says, it's safer not to be judged, because that would be painful. The fact is, people are probably judging me right now anyway. Someone I can't even see right now. Somebody that I've met. Somebody who saw me walking down the street earlier. They didn't like what I was wearing. They didn't like the color of my hair. And they're sitting at home judging me right now. And I'm oblivious to it. Maybe it's not so bad being judged. Maybe I don't need to worry about that. Maybe I can just let that go and be who I want to be and live the life that I really want to live. And even if someone does say something critical to me, do I have to feel pain? And usually, if I feel pain, it's because part of me thinks they might be right. If they say something critical to me, and it's something that I think is nonsense, it's usually not painful. I just feel sorry for them for being so stupid. So whatever part of me might think it's true, whatever they're criticizing, I'm allowing myself to clear that up. I'm allowing myself to be less judgmental of myself. Clearing out all these doubts about how awesome I am. Because acknowledge how awesome I am. That's what I'm going to expect people to be thinking. I won't be worried about them judging me. I'll be thinking, they're going to think I'm so awesome. And then I'll allow myself to be more successful. I want more people to see how awesome I am. Because the more I acknowledge how awesome I am, the more I see how awesome other people are. And the more I want them to see that about themselves. I'd much rather do that. So I'm clearing this fear of judgment, clearing this fear of criticism, clearing all these doubts about how awesome I am. And I'm allowing myself to really love myself, such that I see what a gift I am. And I want to share that gift with the world. And I'm setting myself free to do so. In body, mind, and spirit. And take a deep breath. Close your eyes and think about doing what you want, and think about that fear of being judged. And hopefully that feels a lot less threatening. Hopefully you might feel a lot more opening. And it may be that ideas may be coming to mind, maybe as we're tapping through, because when we're tapping, it's like peeling the layers of an onion. You may have some ideas, some memories that came to mind about, oh, well, there's this time that so-and-so called me a so-and-so. It's like, oh, that would make a great tapping round. Even though she called me a so-and-so, I love and accept myself. Called me a so-and-so, called me a so-and-so. And to the point, it's like, yeah, she was having a bad day, and we just let that stuff go.
Ooh, I don't know why I never thought about creating my own. I always follow other people's prompts, but now I'm kind of like, wait, I can create my own all the time. Oh, that was so awesome. That's so cool that I got to do this with you. Because I'm always just doing your videos. This is so awesome.
Yes, you
Wow.
are.
Thank you. So one last thing before we wrap this up. I already asked you before we started, but we have a little tradition here on the Journey Within, and I like to know what everyone's horoscope is, so what their sun sign is. Do you know what your moon and rising are, or am I getting too out there?
Oh, I used to know because there was a time back in my acting days, I'd gotten this really big book, the only astrology book you'll ever need. And I started doing charts just as a hobby.
Oh, you
Um,
Gemini, you Gemini.
yeah. And I think that, no, I'm not sure. I'm not sure now. I don't remember. I think and I've had a couple of charts done for myself, but it's been years, so
Fingers.
I don't remember now.
That's okay. Well, I know you are your sun sign is Gemini, so we have that in common. Our Mercuries are very much tapping into each other. But I will get that for you guys. I'll hit up Brad and be like, Brad, what's your birthday? Let me pull up your chart, and I'll share it with everyone, everyone afterwards.
Yeah, yeah, we'll definitely do that, Andrea. Yeah, because yeah. Oh my goodness, look at the time. People will judge me because of my horoscope.
Oh man, it's funny now. Anytime I go out anywhere, my friends are so used to it. I literally will ask the waiter, anyone, like, you seem like you're a Cancer. What's your sign? Now it's just a joke where they're like, oh, here she goes with her horoscope stuff. Well, Brad, thank you so much for sharing with us a part of your journey and really walking us into kind of what led you to tapping and breaking it down for everyone in that beautiful sequence on judgment and the fear of judgment. I think that's really going to benefit everyone. We're all going through that, and I feel like it's something we definitely all resonate with, kind of that criticism and being judged and what people are going to think. So I'm glad that we were able to help and support everyone on this. Before we end, where can people find you? I know that you're on Instagram, Twitter, but and
Yeah.
where are you having the most amount of fun if people want to go and stalk you like me?
I have fun everywhere I go. So easiest is just remember tap with Brad. So it's tapwithbrad.com. It's Tap with Brad on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. And yeah, so but at my website, tapwithbrad.com, then you'll find links to all of those different places, all the different resources, videos, how to search through the videos by subject and stuff like that. Because whatever's bothering you with over 1,000 videos, there's a tap for that.
Good to know. Hey, 1,000 videos, guys. Literally, whatever is going on, Google it on YouTube. I was going to say, Google it on YouTube. Search for it on YouTube and get your
There's
fix.
probably something close enough. And again, you can also just be tapping, and even if the words that I'm saying don't match, you can change words, or you can just allow yourself to be aware of what you're feeling and tap through. And just through the tapping, you're going to be able to shift things.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on and joining us today. I really enjoyed chatting with you. I will let you know when this is live, and we'll definitely keep in touch so that I can know of any future events. Hopefully when we're doing live events again, and maybe I can be like, Brad, remember me? And you're going to be like, oh my God, go away. But thank you so much. I hope
Oh,
you
my
have.
pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to share this. I appreciate everybody who's tapped along with us. And yeah,
Awesome.
very grateful.
Well, guys, follow Brad, annoy him, and if you're annoying him, let him know that you're coming from me. Be like, Andrea told us to annoy you. I will see you guys next week with another wonderful episode of The Journey Within. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your week. Take care and see you guys next time. Bye.